Good morning. I just wanted to talk quickly about scientism and basically just its definition. Scientism is something that helps to describe something that we observe a lot in philosophical and scientific circles, mainly scientific circles, but I don't think people quite realize it. In looking up definitions just from online dictionaries and whatnot, there are some basic definitions given, and I just wanted to go over those real quickly. For instance, let's see here. If you want to start with dictionary.com, scientism. It is a noun, and it is the style, assumptions, techniques, practices, etc., typifying or regarded as typifying scientists. So basically how scientists often think about things. And then the second definition of it, the belief that the assumptions, methods of research, etc., of the physical and biological sciences are equally appropriate and essential to all other disciplines, including the humanities and the social sciences. Third definition, scientific or pseudo-scientific language. So there's one. There's another one, and let's do this one. Let's jump over here. Collins, it's an English dictionary. Scientism, in British, says, the application of or belief in the scientific method. See, no one has a problem with that. It's how, when you think of the scientific method, who can argue with it? But so basically, scientism is the application of that scientific method. And then the second definition there, the uncritical application of scientific or quasi-scientific methods to inappropriate fields of study or investigation. So there's that. Let's see. So the Free Dictionary defines it as scientism, the collection of attitudes and practices considered typical of scientists. Number 2, the belief that the investigative methods of the physical sciences are applicable or justifiable in all fields of inquiry. In the English Oxford Living Dictionaries, scientism, thought or expression regarded as characteristic of scientists. Excessive belief, and this is like right under that first definition, or the only definition it gives, excessive belief in the power of scientific knowledge and techniques. Merriam-Webster dictionary online, and you'll have to bear with me. I think this is super important. It's why I'm spinning a quick little video on defining scientism. This is something that people engage in, I think, without really thinking about the word itself, all the time. And it matters because in this case, for me, we are discussing things and how we can know them. So here's Merriam-Webster's definition of scientism. Methods and attitudes typical of or attributed to the natural scientist. And then the second definition, or the number 2 there, an exaggerated trust in the efficacy of the methods of natural science applied to all areas of investigation, as in philosophy, the social sciences, and the humanities. So there's that. And then Wikipedia, scientism is an ideology that promotes science as a purportedly. Now, I don't typically, rely on Wikipedia for much, especially in certain circles, with certain ideas involved, because people, it tends to get a little bit of abuse in certain regards. Just got to be careful with it. But I just wanted to kind of give a broad view of what it's saying now. I haven't even looked at this yet, honestly. An ideology that promotes science as the purportedly objective means by which society should determine normative and epistemological values. The term scientism is generally used critically, pointing to the cosmetic application of science in unwarranted situations not amenable to an application of the scientific method or similar scientific, just lost my thing there, scientific standards. In philosophy of science, the term scientism frequently implies a critique of the more extreme expressions of logical positivism and has been used by social scientists such as Friedrich Hayek, philosophers of science such as Karl Popper, and philosophers such as Hilary Putnam and, I'm going to butcher this, Svetlana Todorov, to describe, for example, the dogmatic endorsement of scientific methodology and the reduction of all knowledge to only that which is measured or confirmatory. And then it goes into greater detail there. So there's that. And scientism, and here's someone, looks like someone did a paper in alumni BU edu. This one sentence was pulled up in a search. It says scientism is the belief. I don't even know who this is or who wrote this. It's just someone's thought on it. This is like a 1 minute search here, or 30-second, 10-second search that pulled this up. Scientism is the belief that science and its method of skeptical inquiry is the most reliable path to the truth. In fact, most scientists are already believers in scientism. Otherwise, they would not bother with science. Although this belief is usually restricted to the search for physical truth. And that's kind of key there, I think. But there is a more general, all-inclusive form of scientism with like a capital S, and which is the belief that the methods of science are not only appropriate for discovering physical truths, but for all, oh goodness, my computer keeps going to sleep, other truths, including those traditionally treated in philosophy, ethics, and morality, political and cultural philosophy, and the rights and wrongs of human interaction. So that's something right there. Here's something. This is pbs.org. Scientism. Unlike the use of the scientific method as only one mode of reaching knowledge, scientism claims that science alone can render truth about the world and reality. Scientism's single-minded adherence to only the empirical or testable makes it a strictly scientific worldview, in much the same way that a Protestant fundamentalism that rejects science can be seen as a strictly religious worldview. Interesting. Scientism sees it unnecessary to do away with most, if not all, metaphysical, philosophical. My computer keeps going to its frozen or rest mode. Sorry about that. That sentence started over. Scientism sees it necessary to do away with most, if not all, metaphysical, philosophical, and religious claims, as the truths they proclaim cannot be apprehended by the scientific method. In essence, scientism sees science as the absolute and only justifiable access to the truth. And I was going to not go into too much of my commentary here, but this is what I've observed also. It's in essence, scientism is a helpful word in these discussions because it helps define what people are actually doing. And if it isn't, I think that can be actually tested. So, thanks pbs.org. Here's one. The American Association for the Advancement of Science. Oh, that's an article. So I was thinking it's going to be just a quick definition. Maybe I will give one of the earlier sentences within this article. I'll see if it's helpful. I haven't read it yet. Okay, so here's, I think, early on in this article, it says, Scientism is a rather strange word, but for reasons that we shall see, a useful one. Though this term has been coined rather recently, it is associated with many other isms with long and turbulent histories. Materialism, naturalism, reductionism, empiricism, and positivism. Rather than tangle with each of these concepts separately, we'll begin with a working definition of scientism and proceed from there. Historian Richard G. Olson defines scientism as efforts to extend scientific ideas, methods, practices, and attitudes to matters of human, social, and political concern. But this formulation is so broad that it render it virtually useless. Philosopher Tom Searle offers a more precise definition. Scientism is a matter of putting too high a value on natural science in comparison with other branches of learning or culture. 2. MIT physicist Ian Hutchinson offers a closely related version, but more extreme. Science modeled on the natural sciences is the only source of real knowledge. 3. The latter two definitions are far more precise and will better help us evaluate scientism's merit. So that goes on to talk about scientific revolution, and then, so I already did this one. So you get the idea. I just wanted to touch base on that because when discussing matters of religion, which is what I'm doing a lot of lately here on this channel, scientism is helpful because you can kind of guess in certain circles where the topic will go. So I'm going to leave this right there. This might be a part 1 of 2 or something, but just helpful in reference to what scientism is, because a lot of people, and myself included, sometimes will engage in this, or it will be bound to come up, even if it's a recently coined term. I don't know if how true that. I want to learn the more precise history of that. It helps put a word to what is being done. And it's not even saying it's wrong. It's just indicative. It's just descriptive of what is being utilized verbally and in people's minds and in their thoughts. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll touch back soon. Touch base again soon. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.